Hey everybody, this is Dr. Michael Hyland with Hyland Physical Therapy and Wellness, and this is video 3 of the Leave the Falling to the Leaves Fall Prevention Series. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the pitfalls that you can find in your own home, ways that you can improve some things to eliminate or prevent falls in your own home. Believe it or not, being at home isn't necessarily the safest place in the world, especially for those who are a little bit more homebound, aren't getting around quite as well. And so that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Things to think about as you're in your own home environment, and some tips on things to improve that. One of the most common things that I see as a PT is people that are aging. Maybe they're not aging quite as gracefully, and they're still, in some ways, they're kind of living as if they were still 25 when they're in a body that's 75 and really isn't aging very well. So they might have leg weakness, impaired balance, poor endurance, and things like that. So one of the things, first thing I wanted to mention is footwear. It's crucial to wear footwear that supports good traction. So one of the most common things we see in home health especially, or doing mobile outpatient therapy like I do, is people either being barefooted, wearing socks with no shoes on, or wearing house shoes that really are super easy to get caught on stuff. House shoes can very easily get caught on thresholds. They can get caught on rugs, which is another topic we're going to talk about. And a lot of times they really have poor grip on the bottom. Some of them might have some pretty good tread, but excuse me, the common thing I would recommend is to absolutely try to either wear grip socks, like the hospital kind with the rubber on the bottom, grip socks, or wear shoes with a tread. So tennis shoes, not loafers. Something with good traction on the bottom, because that will they will conform better to your feet. They won't slip as easily. House shoes can also be a problem with high piled carpet. That's something else. We talked about rugs a little bit, so definitely area rugs, depending on the size that they are. Large area rugs, I don't so much have a big issue with. Sometimes this can be a hazard too, if they happen to move a little bit. So the problem with rugs is they can either slide a little bit because there's no grip underneath, or the edge of the toe of the foot can get caught under the edge. It rolls up, and then that results in a trip and fall. So large area rugs may not necessarily be a problem. The ones that we see most commonly being a huge problem are throw rugs in front of sinks and toilets. So small space and thick, soft, plushy rugs. Those could be a problem. So avoid having small throw rugs. If you're 65 and older, it's really a good idea not to have throw rugs in your bathroom or your kitchen. And if you have big area rugs, make sure they're either there's a foam rubber grip or something underneath so they don't slide. And make sure they're not, hopefully they're not too thick, but that's one of the main things with rugs. The other thing I was going to mention is kind of pairing off of rugs is varying floor surfaces in a home can be a problem. So going from carpet to tile and tile to hardwood. Tile and hardwood can get slick with liquid or whatever. I mean, you can't really avoid that in particular. But that's where the footwear comes in play, because it's really important to have good grip on your shoes if you're walking on tile or hardwood. With carpet, the house shoes can get caught on that. It can be, some carpet, especially in homes I go into that were built in the 1970s and even sometimes the 80s. I mean, you're talking about really thick piled carpet. It's really a trip hazard, even if there's no edges to it. The third thing I was going to mention is lighting. Lighting is very important, particularly at nighttime, but even in a house that has a lot of shade from big trees. It can be pretty dark inside a house, even in broad daylight. So you want to have adequate lighting, especially if you have any problems with vision. And even if you don't have problems with vision, if you're in a dark room at night, you're pretty much relying on two senses: your joint sense, your position sense in space. That's your proprioception. That's your body's ability to feel where it is in space, which, by the way, can get impaired with certain conditions like diabetes. And so it's important you're down to two senses, the proprioception, and the second one is your vestibular system, or your inner ear. And that is probably one of the first senses to be diminished as we go through the aging process. It can improve with working on it, challenging that system, but by and large, the neural transmission slows down over time. So it's very important to have good lighting. It doesn't have to be lights on all over the house, but even just a night light that illuminates the flooring in front of you, in the hallways especially, maybe one in the bathroom. Doesn't have to be keeping a light on in your bedroom all night, but just some kind of low lighting to make sure that as you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, or you're going out to get a midnight snack or a drink from the kitchen, that you're not going to trip over anything or lose your balance just because your vestibular system, your inner ear, is a little bit off. The one thing with tripping in the home, and that's the final thing I want to talk about, is being cleared, pathways being cleared. A lot of times clutter is a problem in homes, and it's very common in the young and the old, but especially in the aging population, there's a lot of people that are pack rats, and so definitely need to keep your pathways clear. You don't want to have boxes all over the house, papers on the floor. You don't want furniture to be all close together with narrow pathways. All of those things can create big trip hazards and could result in problems. So those are 3 or 4 areas to think about as common pitfalls that we see in the home. Other ones that are not so common and you may not necessarily need but might be a good idea moving forward are things like grab bars in the bathroom, getting in the tub or the shower, and on and off the commode. All right, that's about it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and share it with people that you know that might benefit from this information. I'm going to post the link to the playlist for Leave the Falling to the Leaves, the YouTube channel, in the comments below, and I will probably up here in this corner, I'm going to be putting a card recommending the previous video that we did last week. All right, well, that's it for this week. This is Dr. Michael Hyland. I'm signing off, and I will plan on seeing you next week for Wellness Wednesday and continuing this series, Leave the Falling to the Leaves. Thanks a lot, and as always, be empowered.